Alright, so here's how he turned out baked, and size-wise, he looks really good. Looks just like about what he's supposed to here. And so next I need to do his feet and his head and his arms. I ended up baking them just because it was driving me nuts to have everything be unbaked. So if you can be more patient and get those arms going first, that might be better. So now I'm going to need to like carve away at this a little bit and then resculpt this at the top so it's going to fit flat and then move like it's supposed to. Like that. And then I ended up letting my doll sit for so long that I got some cracks. So just don't let it sit for a month. That's not a good idea. That's kind of what happened to me because life got crazy. But all I'll need to do now is just put a little bit of clay over this to fix it and just smooth it with sandpaper after it's baked again, because none of this, the surface isn't going to matter since it's going to be a replicated piece. Anyway, I will show you how I do that repair so you can know what to do in case you run into issues as well. And then on the back here, it still looks not great. But again, it was driving me nuts, and I figured I probably wanted like a harder surface to be able to put more clay on top of. So I'll just smooth more clay here so it's a little bit thicker in his waistcoat anyway. So that's where we are at. Now I just need to get these arms so they're gonna blend into the shoulders better. So first I'm gonna go through and make sure these are completely flat for building the arms on. This side is pretty good. This side seems a little bumpy, so I'm gonna use some wet dry sandpaper, dip it in water, and then keep sanding it until this is nice and flat as well. Alright, so I've been using my X-Acto knife and some sandpaper, and it's a 220 grit sandpaper that I've been using, so it'll really smooth this down well, because this arm still needs to kind of bow out a little bit to the side, and you can see how the top is kind of funky still. I've had to really sand it off here, but I think it's going to be good, and I'm going to put some more clay around it and see if that is going to be a good fit there. So I had to kind of sand this side so it would fit right against this other side. And then I kind of sanded down on his legs and stuff a bit, and I'll continue to do more of that as I go. But first I'm going to finish these arms. Since this is baked clay, I'm going to be using some Sculpting Bacon Bond. You can also use liquid clay if that's easier for you. And just put some of this on here first. I can smooth it on with my fingers or a little paintbrush. And this will help this new fresh clay stick to the baked clay. Now I can sculpt it as I need to. Okay, so here you can see better what I'm aiming for. And I'm looking at the drawing, and the arm is about that far away from the waist. So I want that to be able to keep this angle in place. And so then I'm just keeping it flat against this part. So I'll turn this into a flat piece as well. But I keep checking that angle, and then I want to make sure that it's going to just rub flat so it can move up and down like it needs to, just like that. So it looks pretty rough right now, but I'll just smooth this out, use some smoothing gel on my fingers, and fill in whatever clay I need to. But that's the idea. I needed to get that angle correct. Make him still look like he has a shoulder, but also be having his arm be out like it needs to so he can conduct the music. Alright, so for the second arm, it was a bit too wide at the top too, and so I've just been taking my X-Acto blade, just very carefully kind of just carving away at the parts that I don't want on there. So I want it to be more pointed, and then this is going to be larger up here too. So that's how you do that, and then now I can just go over it with some sandpaper and make it nice and smooth again. But that's why if you do end up needing to bake the arm because they're driving you crazy like this one was for me, you can just do some carving later and it will work out just fine. Just do use care so you don't cut your fingers. Alright, so I've been working on the shoulders, and I wanted to make sure that they were the same width. So I put this little piece of paper here that kind of sticks and cut it to this size so I can take it over here, because on this side I needed to add just a tiny bit of clay. And so that's what I've done here. I'm still kind of in process of getting this little piece of clay added in. But that way the shoulders are more even by looking at it from here to here. So then I'll bake this and finish the arm. And this is still that little hard piece of clay that I baked earlier so I could have something flat and know the size that the arm should be. Alright, and so to make these edges feather in perfectly, I just used some of the smoothing gel and then a brush. And then I went ahead and zapped it with my heat gun, and for this I used the embossing gun, but you could use your Genesis gun if that works better for you. And so now I need to have the arms on here, and I'm working on making sure that they look uniform, so they look like regular shoulders. And this one is still, I'm not quite sure if I like that yet. I might need to put a little bit more up here. I don't know, I'll play around with it for a bit. But I've also been making sure that these arms are the same length from the elbow to the hand, and then also the same length from the elbow to the top of the arm. And then also that these arm circles are the same size as well. Alright, so here are the baked arms. If I can get them to sit in the same spot. There, doesn't that look cool? Yay! And they'll kind of go like this. Da, 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 da. And then this one. Do, 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 do. So that's kind of fun. It's fun to make something you've never thought of making before. And just kind of see how it comes together.